Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name's Carter. I love talking about movies, horror movies, superheroes, and comic books. Today I just got out of seeing the new Kevin Costner passion project, which is Horizon. I almost called it American. It's Horizon, an American Saga Part 1. And this is actually going to be Part 1 of 3 or 4. I don't know if it's 4 or 3, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyways, guys, have you seen Horizon, an American Saga Part 1? If you have, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And enjoy the rest of the video. I honestly had no idea what the film was about going in, and basically it's the story of some Americans and some Native Americans, and that is all I really took out of the film. So it stars Kevin Costner, Sienna Miller, and Sam Worthington. Again, it's directed by Kevin Costner. He also has a writing credit on the film, along with Mark Kasdan and Jon Baird. Also has cinematography by J. Michael Murray. And this is a movie that was actually shot locally, so I wasn't super pumped for it because, well, I do like Westerns. I was a little kind of nervous about Part 1. I am not really a huge fan of Part 1s in general. I feel like they tend to be just very incomplete and fail to kind of capture the big picture. It's kind of hard to judge a Part 1. And so I was kind of nervous going into this film. Not nervous, but I was kind of wary going into it. And unfortunately, it really just captured all of my fears. This is one of maybe my least favorite films that I've seen this year. It really is just a mess all around. I mean, getting into the positives, I mean, of course it looks great. It's shot on location in Utah. It looks like Wyoming and apparently other places, I'm sure, in the Midwest. Well, that definitely adds the production value. I feel like it just... The cinematography is good as well, and some of the action scenes look good and they feel good as well. There's a sequence in here that takes place partially underground that actually had me a little nervous, a little bit tugging at my collar because it was just very visceral. It felt very claustrophobic, and it really got to me. And honestly, for the positives, the performances are good, the sound design is good. I don't know, dude. The more I think about this film, the less I enjoy it, the less I like it. I did a double feature today of this and A Quiet Place Day 1. This is just a polar opposite of A Quiet Place Day 1. It's very drawn out. It's 3 hours long, very slow pace. It jumps around a ton, and it follows about 350 characters. So getting right into the mix and negatives here, I just don't really think this film works on its own whatsoever. It almost feels like it's a proof of concept for a Horizon TV show, or it's like a prologue film kind of setting up each and every single character, of which there's a lot. It took me the whole movie to kind of learn anybody's name, and I learned Kevin Costner's name and Sienna Miller's, and I forgot it now. It's gone. It's completely out of my mind, out of sight, out of mind, and I have no clue what their names are or any personality traits, really. I remember the actors and actresses, but this is a film that definitely suffers from being a Part 1, and genuinely it feels like you get whiplash when you watch the film because it jumps around so much from person to person, to storyline to storyline. It'll skip years, it'll skip events, and it's just genuinely really hard to follow. And if you do manage to keep on top of that, if you do manage to have more brain cells than me and follow the film, then you just don't really get attached to any of the characters or any of the events that are unfolding on screen because of that just disjointed feel. It genuinely feels like whiplash when you're going from scene to scene to person, and it just really had a hard time hooking me. And then when it did hook me, it would switch to a different character, a different perspective, a different time. And that was really difficult for me to kind of see where pieces would come through, because there'd be something at the beginning of the movie and that person wouldn't come in until about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the movie, and you'd totally forget their name. You'd totally forget what was happening because it was a short, tiny scene that occurred. And another thing is just, I was in the movie, I was chilling with my old folks, because the old folks here just love going to the movies apparently with me, and I can't escape them. And I'm sitting there, and about 2 hours into the movie, it switches to yet another perspective and yet another batch of characters. And sometimes that can really work if you're trying to subvert expectations or trying to prove a point or a theme, and I just did not see what they were going for here. So much of this film and the characters, dynamics, the character relationships, characters incomplete, could just be cut, swapped out of the film, completely removed. and they're not. It feels like so much is left on the cutting room floor, but yet at the same time, there's not enough that was shot. It is just very, very disjointed. It bounces around so much in a way that just didn't work for me whatsoever. Like I mentioned, the more I think about this movie, the less I really enjoy it, the less I am having a desire to go see part 2, the less I want to watch part 1 ever again. I doubt I will. I have that thought. At the end of the film, it plays like a trailer for like coming soon in Horizon part 2 and part 3 and part 4. I don't know if it goes that far, but coming soon. And I had the thought of like, if I do see these movies, I will just watch like a recap video. Because as far as passion projects go, I mean, it looks great. Kevin Costner hired a bunch of local people to where he is shooting and to where he is filming. He went and shot on location, which is fantastic. So hats off to Kevin Costner. I mean, that is very respectable in this day and age. To go out and film on location with people from that community and build up that community. He's also building a film studio near a university that is just like an hour away from me, and that is really cool. So I do really respect Kevin Costner, and I do really appreciate a lot that he does for the local film communities, which I think is really important to say. I just didn't really enjoy this film. I couldn't get into it. I am trying to get into more westerns and watch more westerns, so maybe it's just I'm not really a huge fan of the genre yet, but I have really had a hard time getting through this film. I do think that maybe in a few years, when all of Horizon is done, complete, I would really be interested in seeing a fan edit to where the sequences play out chronologically and in maybe like anthology. Because a lot of characters just kind of stick in one sequence, or like one character swaps over. I would be very interested to see an edit like that. I would love to see an edit like that. However, as it stands right now, Horizon and American Saga Part 1 definitely has all of the worst pitfalls of being a part 1. It feels very disjointed, very incomplete, and I'm a little curious, a little worried to see where Kevin Costner goes from here. As of right now, it's going to be like a 4 out of 10. Unfortunately, I really wanted to love this one. I just couldn't. As always, guys, thank you so much for the support. I am posting A Quiet Place Day 1 if it's not already on my channel. Please feel free to go and check that out. And as always, have a great rest of your day.